welcome to the part 8 of Villain, the School Beauties plot. If you encounter any issues or have feedback, please let me know in the comments. Enjoy the content.
Chapter 186, Part 1. Bang! The red flame dragon head, which was as big as a small mountain, fell to the ground and rolled everywhere, raising a cloud of dust and staining it with BLO*dy mud. The huge red flame dragon eyes gradually dimmed, but they did not close, as if they were still alive. Boom! Then came a huge red flame dragon corpse, which fell heavily to the ground, causing a violent vibration. The hot dragon blood like lava kept gushing out and flowed on the ground, raising waves of terrifying heat. In an instant, the entire battlefield fell into a dead silence. The only remaining prodigy of each race stared blankly at the red flame dragon head that was still alive and the headless dragon corpse that was as magnificent as a mountain, and fell into a dead silence. Aolai, the son of the Dragon Emperor of Wanlong Island, a pure-blooded dragon race, was actually dead. This time, the sky was broken. You know, Wanlong Island is the top existence among the fierce beasts and alien races. Its apparent strength is even more terrifying than that of the top human race empire, the Donghua Empire. Aolai's father is the Beiyuan Dragon Emperor, one of the 4 top dragon emperors of Wanlong Island, and is the strongest person in the world. Although Aolai is not the only blood descendant of the Beiyuan Dragon Emperor, he is one of the most beloved dragon sons. If it dies, things will be extremely troublesome. The dragon race of Wanlong Island is notoriously difficult to mess with, and also notoriously crazy. However, when they looked at the Jingguan, piled with the heads of the night elf Princess Tina, the BLO*dy Minotaur Bloodbone, and other powerful alien prodigy, their faces twitched. The identities of these alien prodigy are not weak either. They are all direct members of the top alien forces, but now they are all dead. Even when Jiang Yunfan, Wei Wushuang, Yi Chun, Zhu Fengzi and others saw the corpse of Aolai at this moment, their faces twitched, and some were frightened by Chen Beiyuan's madness. Especially Jiang Yunfan. When Chen Beiyuan was Ling people, he hesitated for a moment whether to stop him. After all, Aolai's identity was a bit too sensitive, involving the giant Wanlong Island. But Chen Beiyuan was not only the young master of the Donghua Chen family, but also the head of the Donghua Academy and the future leader of the imperial military. To a certain extent, he could represent the Donghua Empire. There were too many things involved. But in the end, the imperial prince chose to remain silent, because he knew very well that even if he stopped him, it would be useless. Chen Beiyuan might not pay attention to him, and in fact, it was the case. For Chen Beiyuan, things had to be done thoroughly. Since he had already offended him, why did he keep waiting for his revenge? As a prodigy of the human race, what if he led a pure-blooded dragon race? Something's wrong. Chen Beiyuan frowned slightly, fused Aolai's void order in his hand, and looked at the corpse of the red flame dragon below with a faint look, which seemed a bit strange. Aolai died too easily. You know, he is the son of the top dragon emperor of Wanlong Island. If he didn't have some means to save his life, Chen Beiyuan would never believe it. But now he died so strangely, even simpler than the night elf Princess Tina. The corpse may deceive people, but luck will not. You can tell whether he is dead or not at a glance. Chen Beiyuan's eyes glowed with divine light, and he used Heaven's Child Fortune gazing technique to look at the red flame dragon corpse below, and he immediately saw the clues. An illusory red flame dragon soul is now quietly emerging from the dead dragon head, holding a flame dragon ball in its mouth. The flame dragon ball is now faintly emitting a terrifying emperor weapon pressure, protecting its soul and escaping into the distance. Such a secret method. If Chen Beiyuan did not have the Heaven's Child Fortune gazing technique, he would have been deceived by it. Having lost my dragon body, I have to beg my father to enter the 10,000 dragon pool to recondense my body and revive. Chen Beiyuan, I remember you. You actually dared to destroy my dragon body and take away my opportunity. When I return to Wanlong Island, I will definitely settle this BLO*dy debt with you. Sooner or later, this dragon will want you to die without a burial place. The red flame dragon soul roared and roared silently, looking at the unconscious Chen Beiyuan on the battlefield behind with vicious eyes, wishing to skin him and cramp him. As a descendant of the Northern Flame Dragon Emperor, how could Aolai not have a trump card? The flame dragon ball in its mouth was given by its father, Beiyuan Dragon Emperor, and contained part of the Dragon Emperor's power, which could save its life at critical moments. It is its most important reliance and trump card. If Chen Beiyuan's strength was not too mysterious, Aolai felt that even the flame dragon ball might not KLL the opponent, so how could he easily abandon his dragon body to confuse the opponent and escape in exchange for the dragon soul? Suddenly, Aolai, who was in the dragon soul state, suddenly felt a very familiar sense of horror and absolute suppression of blood. His eyes subconsciously focused on a greedy little figure biting his fingers under the 2 towering sacred trees. Eo Lai's huge dragon face suddenly changed dramatically, as if he had seen something terrifying. This familiar aura, this terrifying pressure, is it her? She's not dead? Damn it, the rumors are actually true. She can really be reborn? This matter must be reported to father. If this bitch is allowed to come back again, then the entire Wanlong Island will usher in a catastrophe. A look of horror flashed across the face of the red flame dragon soul. Obviously, he recognized the true identity of the little silly dragon Anu. And this subtle move just happened to fall into Chen Beiyuan's eyes. At this moment, the red flame dragon soul suddenly felt a creepy sense of peeping coming over him. He turned around subconsciously and met the dark and profound eyes of Chen Beiyuan in the distance. Puff! Under the watchful eye of Chen Beiyuan, the layer of soul light and disguise that filled its body suddenly broke. The huge red flame dragon soul was instantly revealed and appeared in front of everyone, causing a burst of exclamations. Damn it! The red flame dragon soul looked ugly. Obviously, he didn't expect Chen Beiyuan to be able to see through its disguise. Did I let you go? Chen Beiyuan's domineering and cold voice came from afar. Certainly. The fleeing red flame dragon soul was suddenly frozen in mid-air. The sky suddenly turned dark, and a pair of terrifying devilish palms as huge as mountains suddenly grabbed at it. Boom! Seeing that he was about to be captured, the fire dragon ball, in the mouth of the red flame dragon soul, suddenly erupted into terrifying flames, sweeping across the world, breaking the immobilizing spell, and shattering the mountain's demonic palm. A tall shadow wearing a flame emperor's robe, with a blurred face and exuding terrifying imperial power, suddenly appeared in front of the red flame dragon soul. With a grab of his right hand, the void in front suddenly shattered, revealing a void passage for escape. This tall phantom with a face is surprisingly the Beiyin Dragon Emperor, one of the legendary dragon emperors from all directions on Wanlong Island. The red flame dragon soul laughed wildly. Ha ha ha, Chen Beiyuan. I have my father's protective dragon ball. No matter how strong you are, you can't keep me. When I return to Wanlong Island, you just wait for my revenge. I want your whole family to have no peace. Even if your father comes today, you can't leave. Chen Beiyuan showed Murd *Rouse intent as he looked at the phantom of the Dragon Emperor and the red flame dragon soul hiding behind it, preparing to dive into the void passage. This was the first time he had Murd *Rouse intentions. Not to mention the phantom of the Dragon Emperor today. Even if the Northern Dragon Emperor comes in person, Ao Lai will still die. Swish! A white bone longbow with cracks all over it and exuding a wild atmosphere suddenly appeared in his hand. 8th grade divine weapon. Ancient dragon slaying bow. Chapter 187, Part 1. Ancient dragon-slaying bow. This 8th grade weapon that had been buried in the secret realm of the void for thousands of years finally appeared in the eyes of the world at this moment. In an instant, a stormy sea arose. 8th grade divine weapon? Dig. Chen Beiyuan actually has an 8th grade magic weapon? Wait a minute, that seems to be the legendary ancient dragon-slaying bow. The ancient dragon-slaying bow, the ancient magic weapon known as the dragon-slaying weapon? All the prodigy present suddenly let out exclamations of disbelief and were dumbfounded for an instant. Even Jiang Yunfan, the crown prince of the Donghua Empire, became distraught. Chen Beiyuan is actually so hidden. It wasn't even his full strength just now. Who would have thought that a 6th grade war king would also have an 8th grade magic weapon hidden in his body? For Chen Beiyuan, when Ao Lai knew Anu's true identity, it was destined to die. Little silly dragon Anu is one of the biggest plans that he has personally handled since he came to this world. It is not inferior to the layout of the Gu clan in southern Xinjiang, and is even more important. He would never allow anyone to easily interfere with his plans. Once the rebirth of Blood Evil Dragon Emperor is exposed in advance, the old monsters on Wanlong Island will be alarmed. When the time comes, big trouble will come, which will ruin his other plans. Today, Ao Lai must die. Chen Beiyuan swelled his arms, and the Dragon Emperor essence and blood in his body was suddenly stimulated to the extreme. His tall and majestic body also swelled a bit. The index and middle fingers of his right arm fiercely grabbed the bow string, and terrifying power exploded instantly. Click, click. The bow strings woven from hundreds of dragon tendons were pulled apart little by little, making a dull sound. The cracks all over the ancient bone bow began to make slight strange noises and expanded little by little. Even with Chen Beiyuan's terrifying strength, which is enough to lift up a 100-meter dragon and throw it around, which can be said to move mountains and reclaim seas, it is very difficult to pull this 8th grade magic weapon at this moment. The prison-suppressing demonic energy in the body is also flowing into this 8th grade magic weapon. At this moment, Chen Beiyuan only felt that the ancient dragon-slaying bow in his hand was like a greedy black hole, frantically absorbing his demonic energy. In an instant, Most of the demonic energy in his body was lost. Even the recovery speed of Iswa Wang Dao Jing can't keep up. Obviously, even though this 8th grade weapon is only incomplete, it is not something he can use easily. Roar. As the bowstring was pulled a little bit, the strong resentment hidden in the cracks of the ancient bone bow began to emerge. Dragon race wails echoed through the sky one after another from the ancient dragon-slaying bow. These grievances and wails are all curses issued by the powerful dragon race who once died in the hands of ancient dragon-slaying bow before his death. Anyone who uses this 8th grade magic weapon will be interfered by these dragon race resentments, and their souls will gradually fall into confusion and degradation, heading towards self-destruction. But Chen Beiyuan's eyes showed mirrored rouse intent. His face was calm, and his mind entered a sitting and forgetful state, protecting his original intention without being affected at all. The strands of dragon race resentment gradually formed a dark bow and arrow covered with countless lines under the guidance of the ancient bone bow. With all his strength, he only pulled half of the ancient dragon-slaying bow and pointed it directly at the red flame dragon soul who was laughing wildly. A wild and primitive Ling aura broke out instantly, locking it tightly and sealing off the space. The red flame dragon soul, which was about to escape into the void, was suddenly stuck in the void passage, unable to move. It looked at Chen Beiyuan behind him who was pulling the ancient long bow with a horrified expression, and instantly let out a howl of fear. There is no more arrogance and arrogance just now. Ancient dragon-slaying bow? Wasn't this magic weapon destroyed? How could it appear in your hands? Stop, I am the son of Beiyan Dragon Emperor. You can't kill me? Call out, loosen the bowstring. The long black arrow suddenly tore through the void, as if a dark curtain had fallen, darkening the entire sky. The terrifying evil spirit swept across the heaven and earth, stirring up the wind and clouds, forming a huge wave of spirit chi, expanding in all directions and swallowing everything. Boom! The majestic and noble blurry figure wearing a fiery red emperor's robe suddenly flashed a special ripple, stretched out his hand, tore the void, trying to stop it. But in an instant, a long black arrow pierced his chest, tearing most of his body into pieces, and led the red flame dragon soul behind him. No! The red flame dragon soul's shrill howl sounded, and it was suddenly hit by a long black arrow. Endless resentment broke out in an instant, swallowing it up without leaving even a trace. Boom! An earth-shaking loud noise appeared. The entire sky seemed to be penetrated, revealing a huge black hole. However, there was no trace of Aolai, the red flame dragon soul just now, and he was completely wiped out from this world. In an instant, the scene fell into deathly silence. Everyone's eyes were now focused on the huge black hole in the sky and the tall figure holding an ancient bone bow, with a dull expression on his face. Aolai is dead. Shot by the 8th grade magic weapon. Counting Aolai, Chen Beiyuan led almost half of the top 10 on the void list. Escape! 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 The remaining prodigy from all races began to run away like crazy, as if they were scared out of their wits. Obviously, after a series of changes, the seeds of fear were sown by Chen Beiyuan among the prodigy of all races present. Even though Chen Beiyuan didn't seem to be in good condition at the moment, no one dared to do anything to him. Clearance! A calm voice suddenly came from the sky. Zhang Yunfan and others were stunned for a moment. Do it! Madman Zhu, who had been silent all this time, suddenly let out a loud roar and took the lead to take action. He erupted with terrifying evil energy, revealed Zhu Yan's true form, and smashed a wild boar prodigy with one punch. Ling him wildly. Wei Wushuang, Yi Chun, Qin Shaoxi and other Donghua prodigy also reacted, with joy on their faces, and tacitly attacked the fleeing alien ferocious beasts. Now, it's a good time to beat up the drowned dog, and clear out all the alien races and ferocious beasts first. Chen Beiyuan eats meat, and they can also drink lauka soup. Seeing Chen Beiyuan give an order, all the other Donghua prodigy took action, while Zhang Yunfan stood still. His face was silent, not knowing what he was thinking. Sky. Chen Beiyuan's face turned slightly pale, and his arms felt a sharp pain and numbness. His whole body seemed to have been emptied out, and he fell into a state of emptiness. He could hardly hold the ancient dragon-slaying bow in his hand. But his eyes were still as calm as ever, without any trace of fatigue or pain. Instead, they were just calm, staring at the blurry silhouette of the Dragon Emperor in front of him, which was mostly torn apart. I saw that at this moment, the eyes of the sluggish Dragon Emperor's shadow actually became a little more lively, and they stared at him, as if they wanted to remember him. Obviously, the Northern Flame Dragon Emperor sensed the death of his descendant, and in some way, projected a trace of his thoughts over it. Human race boy, I remember you. A majestic and solemn voice suddenly appeared in his mind, carrying a terrifying dragon power. Facing this dragon race supreme master, Chen Beiyuan did not have the slightest fear. He looked directly into his face. A rebellious expression suddenly appeared on his face, and his arrogant voice resounded throughout the battlefield. The Dragon Slayer, Chen Beiyuan. Chapter 188, Part 1. Slap in the face. A slap in the face. PK** led someone's son and dared to loudly publicize his name in front of his father. This is undoubtedly a hard slap to the other person's face. All I have to do is add, "You're pretending to be crazy. Remember me? I want you to remember it more clearly." Chen Beiyuan looked unruly and looked at the phantom of the Dragon Emperor in front of him with cold eyes, without any awe. The hatred has been settled. What else is left to say? Is it possible that you still want to pretend to be a grandson? What about the top Dragon Emperor, the strongest one in Dragon Race? Is it possible to just force his way into the 9th grade divine weapon, Void Temple, and K***ll him? Does it have this ability? As long as he had this ability, Ao Lai wouldn't have to die. Even after he returns to the Donghua Empire, will the Northern Yin Dragon Emperor still dare to come to the capital of the Donghua Empire to cause trouble for him? Haha, if a top Dragon Emperor dares to visit the capital of the top empire of human race, he will definitely be attacked by a group of people. It is said that dragon blood and dragon meat have the effect of prolonging life, and the immortals in the capital of the empire will most likely not let it go. As for Wanlong Island, will Wanlong Island declare war on the Donghua Empire because of Ao Lai? Haha, even if the Northern Flame Dragon Emperor is willing, the other top Dragon Emperors may not necessarily agree. In this case, Chen Beiyuan has nothing to fear, as long as Anu's existence is not exposed. If you offend a top Dragon Emperor, you will be offended. The Chen family of Donghua can also bear it. Anyway, because of a certain little silly dragon, they would have to face each other sooner or later, so it was better to be early. Arrogant Chen family boy. I remember this. Noisy. Bang. Chen Beiyuan flicked his fingers, and the terrifying impact instantly shattered the incomplete Dragon Emperor silhouette in front of him without any intention of giving any face. Before the vague-faced Dragon Emperor's shadow completely dissipated, his eyes were cold and he looked deeply at the unruly face in front of him, as if he wanted to remember it completely. As one of the 4 top Dragon Emperors on Wanlong Island, and the strongest of Dragon Race, Beiyin Dragon Emperor has seen too many young prodigy. But the only one who dared not take it seriously, and dared to slap it in the face one after another, was Chen Beiyuan in front of him. If it hadn't been unable to get in, it would have slapped the little bastard in front of it to death. From beginning to end, it never noticed that there was a pair of strange dual pupils looking at it between the 2 towering sacred trees at the back. Anu, who was originally looking greedy and drooling, now stopped even sucking the bottle, looking coldly at the dissipating silhouette of the Dragon Emperor. That cute little face seemed to have remembered something, showing a look of disgust. Wanlong Island. Suddenly, an angry dragon roar sounded from the depths of a magnificent, luxurious and noble palace that exuded a wild atmosphere, as if the owner of the place was angry about something. Boom! Terrifying flames erupted from the palace and shot straight into the sky. In an instant, the clouds in the entire sky were dyed with bright red clouds, like burning clouds, but they were still spreading continuously. A terrifying pressure from the Dragon Emperor swept across the entire island in an instant, tearing apart the void, stirring the wind and clouds, causing lightning and thunder, creating a horrifying scene of the end of the world. Many dragon race and sub-dragon beasts on the entire island felt a sense of creeping fear. The suppression from their blood instantly caused them to lie on the ground shivering in fear, praying for safety. After a long time, the vision that shrouded the island gradually dissipated. Chen Beiyuan. Deep in the palace, a cold and piercing hoarse voice suddenly sounded, with a trace of undisguised murd * rouse intent. Void Secret Realm. As a quarter of an hour passed, the entire complicated and chaotic battlefield gradually became quiet. Wei Wuxiang, Zhu Kuaishou, Yichan, and other Donghua Empire prodigy who have been watching the show also used this to beat up the Lost Dogs and really reaped a wave of benefits. The prodigy of all races who were running around and fleeing were intercepted and blocked by the top prodigy of the Donghua Empire, K***ling them one by one and seizing the magic weapons from the Void Order and his body. Soon, the severed heads of prodigy from all races were piled together to form a spectacle of human heads. I don't know if it's a coincidence, but it happens to be 10 Beijing temples. Chen Beiyuan comes from a top family, so he naturally knows that eating alone can easily attract people's hatred. A certain great man once said that we must make many friends and few enemies, win over everyone we can win over, and unite everyone we can unite. When you are full, you can naturally throw out some leftovers in exchange for support. This is a workaround. Otherwise, how can others stand by your side willingly and support you? Of course, the value of the 2 towering sacred trees was too huge. After spending so much effort, it was naturally impossible for him to give them away easily or give them away. But the other races of scared big cats and kittens, prodigy, can actually use it as a little petty profit to win over people's hearts and use it for their own purposes. As the saying goes, giving both kindness and power. Anyway, he has already swallowed the largest piece of meat, and the rest of the minced meat and bones are nothing. Crazy Zhu, Wei Wuxiang and others didn't think there was anything wrong. Within the Donghua Empire, the Chen family has always played the role of dividing the meat with a knife. The Chen family eats the meat first, then the big guys share some, and then drink some soup. It is reasonable. Besides, if someone has the biggest fist, isn't it reasonable to take the most? Beiyuan is indeed brave. Lao Zhu admires you from the bottom of his heart. If you hadn't broken the backbones of those bastards and made them lose their souls, Lao Zhu wouldn't have been able to get so many void orders today. Beiyuan, if you need a puppet in the future, you can come to the Wei family to find me. The door of the Wei family will be open for you at any time. Yi admires heroes the most in his life. Although Beiyuan is young, in Ye's eyes he is full of heroism and will become the backbone of the empire in the future. Brother Beiyuan, my second brother Qin Shaoqing has offended me a lot before. My younger brother Qin Shaoxi is here to help you. In the face of interests, the previous dissatisfaction naturally disappeared in an instant and turned into enthusiastic smiling faces. Even Yi Chun, who had always shown hostility before, seemed to have become a supporter of Chen Beiyuan at this moment, and his change of attitude was very natural. This is the reality of the human heart. No one likes to have trouble with themselves. Judging from the strength that Chen Beiyuan has shown before, the younger generation is almost invincible and has absolute dominance. Who would go against him? At this moment, the only person in a bad mood might be Jiang Yunfan, the imperial prince. Mutated blood dragon. Yaizu divine ability. These things seem to belong to the Jiang family. But now, it has appeared in the body of an outsider, Chen Beiyuan. No matter how good his mentality is, no matter how deep the city is, he still can't hold himself tight. Chapter 189, Part 1. Although he had mixed feelings and thousands of thoughts in his heart, Jiang Yunfan still maintained the demeanor and attitude of the imperial prince on the surface, but there were inevitably some strange little thoughts in his heart. Beiyuan, I, Wang Dao, owe you a favor first. If you need it in the future, Wang will never shirk it. Wang Daoxian said with a serious face. Having had his left arm broken by Ao Lai before, he originally wanted to chase him to see if he could take revenge, but he didn't expect to see Ao Lai being led by Chen Beiyuan. No matter what, Chen Beiyuan's move can be considered as revenge for him. Wang Daoxian naturally remembered this kindness. Brother Wang, you're welcome. Chen Beiyuan smiled lightly. At this moment, he still maintains the blood dragon transformation, and his body is full of evil energy. After slaying the dragon, the blood energy has almost condensed into substance, giving people a creepy feeling. The terrifying sense of oppression made all the Donghua Empire prodigy present feel uncomfortable. Soon, everyone wisely said goodbye. Chen Beiyuan made such a big fuss and led so many people, naturally to protect his own interests. It is naturally impossible for everyone to get their hands on those two towering sacred trees. If someone strong-willed wanted to make a complaint, Chen Beiyuan would probably be able to twist off his head, throw it to the side of the Jingguan, and pile it up. However, before leaving, Jiang Yunfan, Wei Wuxiang, Wang Daoxian, and others glanced at Bai Ruowei and Zhang Yunhua next to Chen Beiyuan with complicated eyes. In this battle, the strength displayed by these two men seemed a bit terrifying. Not only the Lion King Caesar, who was 7th on the void list, and the Ice Bear Gal, who was 8th on the void list, died at the hands of the two of them. Moreover, he single-handedly suppressed a group of prodigy from all races. The true strength of the two at this moment is probably at the level of the top 3 in the void ranking. It is almost superior to 99% of Donghua Empire prodigy. The strength of the two of them has improved so rapidly. If it had nothing to do with Chen Beiyuan, they would not believe it even if they were led. After everyone said goodbye and left, the entire depths of the 10,000 Beasts forest fell into a deathly silence. You know people, you know faces, but you don't know hearts. Chen Beiyuan looked at Jiang Yunfan's leaving figure with a faint look, a trace of amusement on his face. Jiang Yunfan's slight strangeness just now was also noticed by Chen Beiyuan. With retribution, he is very sensitive to any adverse emotions and can predict them in advance. After taking his benefits, none of Zhu Kuai, Wei Wuxiang, Wang Daoxian and others were dissatisfied with him at all, and were even very happy. On the contrary, Jiang Yunfan, the imperial prince who had shown a hint of kindness in the Void Temple before, seemed to have an unnoticeable malice towards him. This also made Chen Beiyuan's speculation become more and more interesting. The royal Jiang family is not as kind as it seems on the surface. In the final analysis, it is the interests that are to blame. When he used the divine ability of Dabi Venge, in full view of the public, Even a fool could guess that he must have had a conversation with the remnant soul of the Yaseng Eye on the 8th floor of the Soul Beast Tower before, and even made a deal already. Otherwise, how could Yazen remnant soul give away his own divine ability? So here's the question. The Jiang family has been in control of the Soul Beast Tower for hundreds of years, and they haven't even gotten a single hair from the remnant soul of Yaju. How come you, an outsider, went in and took away someone's divine ability? This is just like someone who has been licking a cold goddess for many years without even touching her hands. Then suddenly a yellow hair came over. The cold goddess took the initiative to give it to her for free, angrily gave her blood, knelt down and sang, "Conquer," and cooperated in every possible way. Same. This is really a bit off guard, and it is indeed hated by others. Of course, there must be some more complex elements in it. After confirming that everyone had left, Chen Beiyuan released the Blood Dragon transformation and no longer held on. The moment he came into contact with Blood Dragon transformation, Chen Beiyuan only felt a weariness and weakness deep in his soul welling up in his heart, and his whole person fell into a state of weakness. His face turned pale, he was sweating profusely, his hands felt like they were not his own, and even his legs were a little weak, and he almost collapsed on the ground. Beiyuan. Beiyuan. Seeing the weakness on Chen Beiyuan's face, the expressions of Bai Ruowei and Jiang Yunhua behind him changed dramatically, and they hurriedly wanted to step forward to help, but were stopped by his wave of hands. "I'm fine." Chen Beiyuan took out a demon flame pill from his arms and swallowed it. The terrifying power of the medicine spread in his body like fire, constantly nourishing his body. The slightly pale face gradually gained a little more color, and the fatigue and weakness on his body also eased. He forced himself to stand up straight, took out a new slim-fitting black robe from the system space and put it on, breathing heavily. It's still too much. In this battle, he almost used most of his trump cards. First, he used Blood Dragon transformation to sweep everything, and then he used Dependence on Life and Death to absorb all the damage done by the two women to build up their anger. He also withstood many of Prodigy's terrifying K***ling moves, and finally used Leader B Venge to return double the damage. He even used the Ancient Dragon Slaying Bow, an 8th grade magic weapon, to excess. She also had to try hard not to show her weakness in front of outsiders, so as not to make people resent her. If he hadn't practiced the Prison-Suppressing Demonic Sutra, he would have had a deep foundation, coupled with his Wang Dao Sutra, that kept recuperating. He would have had a terrifying body comparable to the 7th grade divine weapon. If it had been someone else, I'm afraid he would have been consumed to death a long time ago. However, after the hard work, there are naturally rich rewards. You know, this time at least 80% of the prodigy of all races in the entire Void Secret Realm died in his hands. Their Void Orders and the magic weapons and treasures on their bodies are all piled up in the system space. Of course, Chen Beiyuan also collected the corpses of alien races and ferocious beasts for future use in artifact refining medicine. In particular, AO Lai's 100-meter-long red flame dragon corpse is definitely the best material. However, the real big deal is at the back. Chen Beiyuan looked at the huge and plump heaven and earth spirit fruits on the two towering sacred trees behind him, with an expectant smile on his face. Next, it was naturally time for him to harvest, not to mention the longevity fruit that increases lifespan and prolongs life. The marrow cleansing fruit that improves his qualifications and understanding and strengthens his bloodline is what he values the most. As the Destiny villain in the original work, his qualifications and understanding are almost the best in the original work. Even a certain son of fortune named Lin Shao can't compare to him. I just don't know what terrible effects it will have after taking marrow cleansing fruit. Chen Beiyuan walked slowly towards the two towering sacred trees, followed closely by Bai Ruowei and Jiang Yunhua. Suddenly, the three of them heard a faint sound. At a glance, he saw the little silly dragon Anu sleeping soundly under two towering sacred trees, holding a bottle of milk. Next to her were little cakes that were smashed into pieces and BLO**DY. Chapter 190, Part 1, *******. The BLO***DY little cakes were sunken deeply into the ground. Their miserable appearance was so miserable that even their own mothers wouldn't be able to recognize them. I'm afraid, even they never thought that they would die so miserably. You know, the real strength of a certain little silly dragon is more terrifying than Chen Beiyuan under normal circumstances. Unless she uses her strongest cards, Chen Beiyuan may not be her opponent. Among the top 10 on the void list, excluding Chen Beiyuan, the other 9 might not be able to defeat this silly little dragon who knows how to drink nana all day long. The return of a generation of dragon emperors is no joke. These guys who dare to play the game of die together are really impatient, and being beaten into little cakes is considered a light thing. To be honest, Chen Beiyuan seriously doubted whether this little guy was the hidden luck protagonist. At the beginning, he was besieged by several top dragon emperors and was forced to rebirth and return, transformed into a BLO*DY dragon egg. He unexpectedly met a caring human pet and was carefully cared for by the human pet. He was given whatever he wanted, and he ate and slept, and occasionally have to eat extra meals and drink nana. In less than half a year, my cultivation level has almost reached 7th grade. Good guy. Those who didn't know thought he was the reincarnation of Long Outyin. However, perhaps because the time it took to break out of the shell was too short, this little silly dragon spent most of his time hiding in his sleep. He often sucked the bottle and fell asleep. Please refer to the appearance of Panda UI when the power is cut off. Chen Beiyuan bent down and picked up Anu, who was lying on the ground and sleeping soundly with a bottle in her arms, and patted the dust on her body lovingly. Call, call, call. The little silly dragon Anu, who was sleeping soundly, suddenly moved his nose, as if he smelled a familiar smell. His closed eyes suddenly trembled, and he immediately turned over, curled up in his arms, and purred like a kitten. Ming murmured in sleep, "Nai, nai, nai, nai. Anu, want a drink? Nai, nai. Okay, drink Nana." Chen Beiyuan's slightly pale face showed a touch of softness and gentleness. He took out a bottle filled with animal milk from the system space and stuffed it into her hand, putting away the empty bottle. Suck, suck, suck. Anu, who was sleeping soundly, held the bottle and sucked it hard a few times, with a happy expression on her face. Her little head burrowed hard into Chen Beiyuan's arms and murmured to herself in her sleep, "Eh? Yuan, good, good." Seeing Beiyuan showing such tenderness to some kind of little silly dragon, although Bai Ruowei and Zhang Yunhua on the side showed no signs of strangeness, they could not help but feel a trace of jealousy in their hearts. You know, none of them enjoyed this kind of treatment, but a certain little guy enjoyed it first. What's even more annoying is that this little guy is still kissing Beiyuan. Can you really do whatever you want at a young age? Moreover, I don't know whether a certain little silly dragon did it on purpose or unconsciously. I saw one of her little hands extending a little thumb towards the two of them in a direction invisible to Beiyuan. Hiss. Okay, let's play like this, right? Damn brat. A man who plays with my mother in front of me is so damn provocative. The corners of Jiang Yunhua's eyes twitched, and instantly he felt that his fists were hardened, and he had the urge to hit someone, although Bai Ruowei remained calm, with a smile on her face. But the snow-white fox in her arms suddenly felt that the master's stroke on her head seemed a little heavier, as if he was about to lift the lid of her heavenly spirit. At this moment, Chen Beiyuan seemed not to notice the first confrontation between a certain little silly dragon and the two women. After coaxing him for a while, he used the hidden dragon technique to bring the sleeping Anu into the depths of his soul. Deep in the soul, a sleeping little silly dragon was currently hugging his own Yuan pillow, sleeping domineeringly on it, with a milk bottle in his mouth. Suddenly, Anu's closed eyelids opened slightly, a hint of wisdom appeared in his dark purple eyes, and there seemed to be a bit of pride on his lovely face. Huh, two big nana bad women. A Yuan is a news? Yan Anu suddenly yawned. A hint of sleepiness appeared on his face, and he hugged the Ayuan pillow in his arms tightly. Ayuan, go to sleep. Inside a tree hole. 579 Ingsho fruits, 268 marrow-cleansing fruits. With the assistance of Bai Ruowei and Zhang Yunhua, 2 plump and huge fruits from the towering sacred trees were picked one after another and delivered to Chen Beiyuan. They were piled up like a mountain, exuding a special and fragrant phenomenon. Just smelling it makes you feel refreshed and longevity prolonging. From the beginning to the end, neither of the two women showed any signs of coveting the mountains of heaven and earth spirit fruits in front of them. From beginning to end, their eyes were fixed on that figure with a pale face, a blood dragon mark between his eyebrows, a noble temperament, and a strange and demonic nature. Especially after seeing the weakness on Beiyuan's face, the distressed look on the two women's faces became increasingly difficult to conceal. Ever since they were young, they had never seen Beiyuan so weak. How high-spirited, domineering, and cold-hearted he was before. Ruowei, Yunhua, you are protecting me outside. Chen Beiyuan sat cross-legged on the ground, slowly opened his eyes, and said in a weak voice, "Well." Bai Ruowei and Zhang Yunhua stood up together, walked outside the tree hole, and started to guard. However, what they didn't know was that after they walked out, a glimmer of light flashed in the eyes of Chen Beiyuan, who should have looked weak. The paleness and weakness on his face instantly disappeared without a trace, and his breath suddenly changed. Must be steady and solid. It was originally possible to experience a wave of classic scenes in the novel, but now it seems that the possibility is unlikely. In the final analysis, he was too cruel and K** led too hard just now. Chen Beiyuan felt a warm feeling emerge, and his lifespan seemed to have gained a little more. He never underestimates anyone. Chen Beiyuan had some inexplicable regret on his face. A strange baby cry suddenly sounded in his mind. I saw that he was the first to grab a Ingshou fruit and put it into his mouth. As soon as he entered his mouth, the baby-shaped fruit melted instantly, turned into liquid, and swallowed it. There are countless talented people in the world. Although he led 80% of the prodigy from all races in the secret realm of the void. If anyone really thinks that he is in a weak state and wants to have a mantis stalking the cicada and the oriole behind him, then he will let the other person know what a surprise is. Lifespan +1. It's just that he, who has always been careful and cautious, is used to leaving himself a backup plan. But who can guarantee that there is no one hiding in the dark? It seems that there is no need for surprises. He didn't deliberately guard against Zhang Yunhua and Bai Ruowei. That being the case, let's start enjoying the fruits of victory. At this moment, it was as if he had never been injured. Chen Beiyuan looked at the piles of Ingshou fruit and marrow-cleansing fruit in front of him, with an expression of anticipation on his face. Even if there really is a yellow bird, I'm afraid it will be too frightened to show its head.
Thanks for watching. You can find the next videos in the playlist linked in the info card or directly on my channel. If you have any feedback, I'd love to hear it. Feel free to drop a comment.